When many people come into contact with Chinese mythology, such as the video game Black Myth Wukong, they will bring the worldview of Western mythology into it. For example, some people will understand the immortals, gods, Yaoguai, and loong as different races, just like the gods, hobbits, elves, and dwarfs in the Lord of the Rings. But these are completely different concepts. For example, in Chinese myth, Yaoguai can become humans, and humans can become gods. However, in Western myth, dwarfs cannot become elves, and elves cannot become gods. Both Black Myth Wukong and Journey to the West are stories about Monkey King Wukong and a typical Chinese mythology that integrate Buddhism and Taoism. Understanding the stories of Wukong means understanding the Chinese mythological worlds. In this video, Chinese Way will explain 17 concepts that appear in Journey to the West and Black Myth that will help you understand the core secret of various Chinese myths. The first one, Xian. Xian is usually translated as immortal. The biggest characteristic of Xian is freedom. They have no need for food and sex, are not restricted by physical space, and have supernatural powers. They have extremely long lifespans, ranging from several hundred years to thousands of years to several million years. But in fact, only a very small number of Xian are truly immortal forever. Ordinary Xian needs to improve their immortal power and extend their lifespan through cultivation and medicine. The second one, Chen Xian. Chen Xian means to become an immortal. Xian do not give birth to children, so Xian are not born by another immortals. Xian are transformed from humans, animals, and plants. There are usually two ways to become immortal. The first is cultivation. That is by using specific methods to improve and purify oneself, and finally get rid of the fragile physical body and take on a new life form. The new life form is not harmed by water, fire, sharp objects, etc. It also have a very long lifespan. The second way is immortal medicine. Take some special drugs or food can make ordinary things become xian. For example, in Journey to the West, there are pan peaches, xiandan, renshen fruit, and also tang monk's flesh. They are all immortal medicines. Third, shen. Shen are usually translated as gods, but in Chinese culture, Shen is not a creature, and most Shen are not born. As we mentioned earlier about the immortals, a Shen is an immortal with a certain position and a specific job. For example, Lei Shen and Yu Shen, their job are to thunder and breathe. There is another way to become a god. There are those who have made great contribution to the world during their lifetime. Some have extremely high moral qualities. After their death, people hold continuous rituals for them. People use their collective spiritual power to make their souls immortal and gain divine power. An example is Guan Erye. He is worshipped by businessmen and triad societies. The first Shen to appear in Black Myth Wukong is Erlang Shen, who kills Wukong at the beginning. He always had a black dog with him, and he was the most powerful god in combat. Erlang Shen does not usually live in the celestial court, but in Guankou, Sichuan province. I just visited his temple during my summer vacation. There was a very large flower tree in the yard of his house. It's very beautiful. The fourth one, Tianting. Tianting is translated as celestial court in black myth. In fact, the celestial court is a kingdom or government composed of gods and immortals. It's a place where gods and immortals live and manage affairs. There is a strict hierarchy and order there. The gods perform their duties here and manage everything in heaven, earth, such as wind, rain, thunder, nightly, and the rewards and punishments for humans, animals, and ghosts. The fifth, Yu Di. Yu Di is usually translated as the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor is the top leader of the celestial court. The Jade Emperor didn't inherit his position from his father. In China, the position of gods cannot be acquired by inheritance or violence. He obtained this position of CEO of the Celestial Court by the immortal power and moral achievements. The Jade Emperor has been calculating for 1715 Jie. Jie is a unit of time. Each Jie lasts 129,600 years. By calculation, the number of years of the Jade Emperor has calculated is 1715 by 112,600 years, which is about 226.8 million years. He is in charge of heaven, the earth, and the underworld. 6. Tianwang. Tianwang are translated as heavenly kings. The four huge gods fighting Wukong in black myth are called the four heavenly kings. In English version, they are called the Lute Heavenly King, Sword Heavenly King, Umbrella Heavenly King, Snake Heavenly King. That's not their real names. Due to translation issues, many people mistakenly think they are the kings in the celestial court. In fact, their rulers are generals in the celestial court and are responsible for security godward. You can see them in every Chinese Buddhist temple. Before becoming immortals, they were generals in Shang Dynasty of China. They also have a superior called Li Tianwang. He holds a pagoda in hand. Before becoming an immortal, he was an ancient Chinese general, Li Jing. His position is the commander-in-chief of the celestial army. 7th, 天上一日，地上一年. This sentence is translated as one day in heaven is equal to 1 year on earth. Chinese traditional culture believes that time is relative, and beings in different dimensions have different feelings about time. In Journey to the West, after Wukong served as the horse breeder in the celestial court for 15 days and returned to Huabo Mountain, the monkeys complained to him why he didn't come back for 15 years. There is also a difference in the flow of time between underworld and human world. 1 day in the underworld is equal to 1 month in the human world. The 8th, 地府. Difu can be expressed in English as netherworld or underworld. It's a place where the souls of ordinary people and animals go after death. There are different situations and staff in the underworld. They are responsible for managing and judging the ghosts. The highest official in this place is Yan Wang. But Yan Wang is not a dictator, but just the CEO of the underworld. There is a law in the underworld called the Book of Life and Death. This book records lifespan of each person and animals. Yan Wang acts according to this book. When someone's lifespan is up, he sends ghost police to bring their souls to the underworld. Yan Wang is responsible for the Jade Emperor. In Journey to the West, Wukong once beat Yan Wang in the underworld and erased his own name from the Book of Life and Death. Therefore, Yan Wang went to the celestial court to complain to the Jade Emperor. The ninth one, Tudi or Tudi Shen. Tudi Shen are called capers in the black myth Wukong. Tudi Shen means a god in charge of a piece of land. They often appear in black myth and Journey to the West. Most images are short old men. Whenever Wukong arrives in a new place, he likes to summon the local tradition to inquire about the local situation. In Chinese culture, some upright and intelligent people are conferred as tradition by the celestial court after their death. They are responsible for supervising and managing a small area, such as a mountain, a forest, or a village. Traditions are very low-level gods. They are like a neighborhood supervisor. If you come to China, you'll often see some small temples like toy houses. They are at the entrance of villages by the sides of roads, under big trees. These are temples of tradition. The tenth, 转世 or 投胎. 转世 or 投胎 can be translated as to be reincarnated. It means that after people die, the soul will enter a new life form and continue to exist in a new life in another form. Animals can be reincarnated as human after death, and humans can be reincarnated as animals after death. Immortals also can be reincarnated as human or animals. For example, Zhu Bajie, Wukong's companion on the journey to the west. He was originally a general in the Celestial Court, and he was generally in charge of the heavenly navy. Because he flirted with the beautiful Moon Palace goddess, he was demoted to the human world, and he was reincarnated into a pig fetus. He was born by a pig and become half human, half pig. 11th, Yaoguai, Yaojing. Yaoguai and Yaojing cannot be translated as monsters, even though a lot of them look like monsters. As mentioned earlier, humans, animals, and plants can all become immortals and gods through cultivation. But animals and plants have one more step than humans to become immortals. They need to first cultivate into human form and then cultivate into immortals. Usually, when animals and plants cultivate into human form, their lifespan can already reach hundreds or thousands of years, and they have some supernatural power at this stage. Their abilities are similar to those immortals, but at this time, they have not been recognized by the celestial court. Such beings are called Yaoguai or Yaojing. Those who look more like animals and ugly are called Yaoguai. For example, the black bear guai in the black myth. Yaojing, on the other hand, looks just like people and beautiful. In Journey to the West, there is the white squirrel jinn and the rabbit jinn, and so on. They all look like pretty women. The beautiful woman in black myth Wukong is a spider cultivated into a Yaojing. 12th, Loong. Loong were previously translated as dragon, but Loong is completely different creature from dragon. Long's body is like a snake, and its claws are like an eagle's. Their body are covered with scales. Long can change in size and shape and can fly in the air, but they mainly live in water. Although longs are animals, they have supernatural power, just like immortals. Some long are appointed by the celestial court. Therefore, they become gods in charge of some water areas, and these long are called long kings. There are many long kings in Journey to the West, such as the Long King of the East Sea, the Long King of Jin River, the Long King of the Whale. Wukong's weapon, Jingu Bang, was originally owned by the Long King of East Sea. The Long King's other job was to be in charge of the weather in an area. There are many Long King temples in China, which are places people pray for good weather and good harvests. If an area is dry for a long time and it doesn't rain, people will think that the Long King didn't do his job well. People may even carry out the statue of the Long King and beat it with white sword branches as a punishment. This is what Chinese people do. We often say the land of China does not suppose use these gods. 13th. 4. The Buddha is the strongest in the entire mythological world of Journey to the West. To understand the word Buddha, you need to return to the essence of Buddhism. The essence of Buddhism is an education, not a religion. Buddha means awakened one. And you can think of Buddha as highest degree like a doctor degree. There are countless Buddhas. Everyone can become a Buddha. A Buddha is responsible for the educational work of a universe in a certain period. The Buddha in Journey to the West is the teacher of our universe, and this current stage,释迦牟尼Buddha. The goal of his teaching is the awakening of all beings. But why can a teacher be so powerful? The Buddha said that the universe is a big dream. Whether it's gods, immortals, humans, animals, or Yaoguai, they all live in an illusory dream. Everything in the universe is just an illusion to the Buddha. It's just like even though superheroes in movies are so powerful, but they can do a bit of damage to a real life person because they are fictional and they are just images on a screen. So, even though Wukong was able to defeat 10,000 heavenly soldiers and generals, the Buddha imprisoned him for 500 years, just a third of his power. The 14th, Pusa, Bodhisattva. Pusa is short for Bodhisattva. Pusa is the second degree in Buddhism. You can understand it as a master degree. Pusa are awakened beings who are close to Buddha. Their job is to be Buddha's assistant teacher. They want to free beings from suffering. In Black Myth Wukong, there is Lingji Pusa, whose head was cut off by the red jinn. In Journey to the West, or in Chinese culture, Guanyin Pusa is the most important one. Generally, the image of Guanyin Pusa is a woman in white. In fact, Pusa are awakened ones and have returned to the source of the universe. Only low-level beings have gender. For Pusa, there is no gender. Guanyin Pusa shows a female form because the situation of women in traditional society is more difficult. In order to help women in the world, Guanyin Pusa shows a woman's appearance. In fact, Guanyin Pusa has countless image changes. The fifth, 罗汉. Lohan is Arhat. Arhat is the lowest degree in Buddhism and can be simply understood as a bachelor degree. Arhats are divided into four levels. The lowest level of Arhats have realized that I is an illusion. They have no concept of self anymore. Therefore, they have jumped out of the reincarnation system. In Journey to the West, Arhats many appear in the West Paradise. They are students and followers of Buddha. Wukong's companion, Sha Monk, finally obtained the degree of Arhat. The 16th, Xi Tian is usually translated as the Western Paradise. As mentioned earlier, the celestial court is the realm of Taoist immortals in Journey to the West, while the West Paradise is the Holy Land of Buddhism. It is the place where Buddhas and many Pusa and Arhats live. West Paradise symbolizes a pure, sacred, and wise realm. In Journey to the West, the destination of the journey is the West Paradise. Wukong and his team's aim is to get the books that recorded the content of the Buddha's education and bring them back to Tang China. The seventh, 末法时代, Dharma-ending Age. The story of Black Myth Wukong takes place 500 after the journey to the West. When释迦牟尼Buddha left this world, he predicted that his educational influence would gradually decline. The first period is called the Age of the True Dharma for 500 years. People's understanding of Buddha's teaching is relatively accurate. There are many practitioners and it is easy for them to achieve success. The second period is called the Age of Imitation Dharma for 1000 years. Although the Buddha's education still continues, it is not as pure as the age of the true Dharma. The third period is the Dharma-ending Age, lasting for 10,000 years. The Buddha's education declines. Living beings are confused and upside down. Material desire expands. People scramble for power and profit. The influence of demons is powerful. According to the calculation of time, the Dharma-ending Age began in 1022 AD. The story of Black Myth Wukong takes place around 1146. At this time, it has entered the Dharma-ending Age, and the order of the celestial court and the world may have been disturbed by demons. The above 70 concepts often appear in various Chinese myths and legends. We will discover other Chinese mythology topics in next video. If you are not clear about any characters or concepts in Black Myth Wukong, Journey to the West, or other Chinese myths, tell Chinese Way in the comment below. I will expand it for you. Follow Chinese Way, not Chinese, the Chinese way, the Chinese way.